live stream.
Oh, there we go. All right, we are live. Okay. Hey, everybody, welcome to the GenX Book Club this month. And once again, welcome Del Rayleigh
Hello.
and Suzanne Mataboni.
Excited.
And if you're watching live, you'll see we have a special guest. So yeah, and so we have an incredibly special guest joining us tonight on the GenX Book Club. She's someone who helped define a generation of iconic 80s movies and remains a beloved figure in pop culture today. You'll recognize her as Monique, the charming French exchange student from Better Off Dead, and as Princess Joanna in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And she broke hearts, especially Gary's, Last American Virgin. And she's also captivated audience in so many more films. But Diane Franklin isn't just a star on screen, she's also an accomplished author. And tonight we're diving into her fantastic book, Diane Franklin, The Excellent Adventures of the Last American French Exchange Babe of the 80s. And this memoir gives fans a behind the scenes look at her journey through Hollywood and her experiences in some of our favorite films and her life as a true 80s icon. So it's an honor to have her with us tonight. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to the one and only Diane Franklin.
Yay.
Hey, Diane.
It is just a huge pleasure to be here because I just think this is such a great idea for a podcast, an idea of like Gen X and focusing on everything that is Gen X. Those who don't know about Gen X will see what we appreciate and what we look forward to and what we like, or what we're interested in. And those that are Gen X, wow, this is like a great idea to find out about books that maybe people that are not out, that maybe that are just not commercialized. And so you're finding out about things that are more niche. And I just love that personally. I'm always into that.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and another thing, as you're talking now, it's making me realize, yeah, even back then, yeah, there was no internet and everything, so we get some insights and learn a lot more now, going back to these books and bringing attention to this that we might not have known back then. So
yeah, I mean,
pretty cool.
think about it. At the time when we were growing up, you had to go to a bookstore or you had to go to a library.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like those were the books and only the books that were, say, a publisher would go for, or, you didn't get the range and the information that you can get today, which is why it's really fascinating to me that I think we're kind of like the first generation that was able to write things that are more real, and create our own material if we want. And it's a big deal. It wasn't always like that. And I always remember that for people who are just watching, younger people, they might think, oh yeah, this was happening all the time. No, like everyone who's listening to this podcast, you are someone who appreciates reading. Remember that? Remember reading?
Right, exactly.
And the idea of holding a book and the smell of it and just the whole, and that was entertainment and using your imagination to read something and look at it. Now there's so much content and there's so much media and there's so many distractions. It's just, it's special. And it's just not what this is what we did, people. This is what we did. We had a book and we read it and we talked about it and we had book clubs and it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what made you decide to write these? Well, you actually have a series of books, I should also say. Yeah.
I do. I'm going to show you, so the audience knows. I mean, you'll probably show them. But okay, this is the book we're talking about, and this is called The Excellent Adventures of the Last American French Exchange Babe of the 80s. And I put that title out just because I didn't take for granted that anyone would remember me. So I was like, okay, maybe I should just give them a general idea of what they're looking for. And I have to say too, like, I wrote my name on the book really big because I have to say that in our generation, and men always got a lot of credit And I thought, this is something that if I put my name out there and people remember it, it's like I'm kind of putting it out and saying, okay, women can be memorable too. It's not just so and so who work with so and so. It can be memorable. And I don't know, it was just one of those things where I would not have normally done it, but part of it was very much like, well, I'll tell you how it happened. I'll tell you, because then you'll see what happened. So how I came to write this book was that I went to a convention and, actually before that, I thought I have all this material and these pictures and all this information in my career. And I thought I was going to give that information to my children. And as I raised my kids, I realized I'm mom. Like, I have the most important part in the world and I'm their mother. And it's not that they wouldn't care about my career. It's just that it doesn't mean as much to them as the people who grew up watching what I did. So at a certain point I went, well, you know what? I think I'm going to take this information and give it out and help people maybe who are future actors or people who want to like create careers. And I thought, well, maybe the fans might be very interested in this information. But I didn't know I even had fans. So let's just cut to the chase. I was like, I don't know. Wow. So what I did was I wrote a book in color on I had a silver bound, and I made 50 of them. And I went to a convention and I brought them with me. And I said to people who came to see me, and I did not even know at the time people would come and see me, but they were so, excited to meet me. And they said, oh, I would like your book. So I sold out of them. And because I sold out of them, they're like collector's items. So because of that, I thought, oh, I guess maybe I should publish these. So I self-published. And I self-published for a bunch of reasons. One is because getting someone to publish your book takes a lot more, there's a lot of things on the agenda. I could go to someone with my information and they might turn it all around and say, let's make it a makeup book, makeup tips. Let's turn it, they don't want to hear necessarily my story and the way I tell my story. And I thought, like, what I wanted to do, and for my autobiography was, they might have said the title is too long, or that, the book should be in a certain format. And I am a very creative person. And I also went to art school, and I thought, I'm going to just do this. So I had a lot more, and the way I speak, I wanted it to be like, when you read this book, it should feel like the 80s vernacular. You should feel like not I'm arched and talking about my past as a professional. You know what I'm saying? I want you to feel the 80s in my words and my expressions. So I had a lot of things in my mind that I wanted to do when I decided to put it out. And by the way, I don't think even a lot of people know, like, I have other books out, but this is my actual autobiography, the excellent, this one. And so for me, this book is where you learn where I came from, how I got there, my journey, and all the jobs I did. And I even, because I have my own children, I even rated the chapters for older and younger, which I was like, as a parent, maybe I want to see the R-rated, but I don't want my kids to, so you could rip those out. I don't know. But it's more about the subject matter. You may not want your kids to be reading that. And so the whole idea for me was to put out something that I would want to read from someone else if I had an autobiography. The interesting part was when I created the book first, I think this one came out in 2012. I have a section in the back of the book that is about my daughter and my son. And I wrote it because I thought, and I'm married as well. I don't bring that up so much because, I was like an 80s crush. So I feel like, married, but maybe we don't want to talk about that. Right? Maybe we're not that interested in that part, right? But my husband's awesome and he's hilarious and wonderful. We've been married 30 something years, 30, I don't know, 5, maybe, maybe almost 40. Yeah. But regardless, but what I did was, in the book, a lot of times people write autobiographies, but they don't tell you anything about their lives at home at the time. Like now, and then with the internet, we know everything, right? Because we can look it up. But at the time, the internet wasn't really showing that much. And I thought, okay, I want my children to know that obviously they were important to me. My life went on. It just was something that I wanted to include. But now as time has passed, I thought, oh, I don't know if people really want to know about my kids. Maybe they just want a Diane Franklin book. So I may be coming out with a version of my books that's a hard copy with just my work. But I can ask you your thoughts, or maybe your fans can tell me if they're interested, but it is interesting because every book I have, I've kept people up to date with what my kids are doing, which is kind of funny. So like at the end of the book, you get a little highlight on that. Yes, you asked me this question and I just went off.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah.
But it does show that what happened was I didn't take for granted. I didn't, people didn't know me by name. They knew me by my role. And back then I did not do publicity. And that is why I'm really glad you're doing this show, because my publicity for my book, for my biography, was not, big. I didn't come out and, make it like a big thing. If you know my work, you might have heard from word of mouth. But if you don't know my work, this is all through word of mouth. This is all through, you're interested in my roles, you're interested in my characters. I can tell you what's in each book now, and then you have, you can get it or not. And it's available on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble now. The online store. And so it's rated highly. So anyway, you ask another question.
Well, that's a good point. As an artist, that must make you feel good that people know your roles, but might not necessarily know you. But on the other hand, it would also be good if people actually know you, so that they might find other work that they might not have been aware of. So
that's absolutely true. I had people who they knew one. Well, see, okay, so here's another thing about my work. My work was over the years many different genres. I did drama, I did comedy, I did horror. One episode of sci-fi for Alfred Hitchcock. But basically, the one through line pretty much was that I was the girl, the crush, the girl that somebody liked or wanted to date. And now today I've played mothers and psychiatrists, and just there's a lot more options, narrators, and just like different characters now, because as you get older as a woman, you're playing more character parts. At least when I was young, I played the ingenue. So what I really find cool is that people are willing to go outside. They're like going, oh, I want to see you in something else. And for me as an actress, the most important thing is that I want people to look at my work and go, wait, that's her? Wait, that's her? I never knew that. Like Last American Virgin to Better Off Dead, to TerrorVision, to Bill and Ted's, and then to like my more recent work, Waking Nightmare and High Holiday, and and then Pareidolia is a short film I did. But like there's movies that are out now. Amityville Murders, and then based on Amityville to the Possession. So like that's in itself, it's very cool. Like I did a movie when I was 20, Amityville to the Possession, and then I played the daughter, and then when I got older, I got the part in Amityville Murders, and I played the mother in basically the same story. So people who follow my work, it's not just one note. There's always something deeper, more interesting. So there you go.
Awesome. Yeah.
Excellent.
Suzanne, people want to ask you. Yes, exactly.
Miss Triumphant.
Did you guys have any questions you want to ask? I don't want to be.
Suzanne, I'll let you go first.
Well, first off, I kind of feel like whatever questions we ask, you maybe have already answered in the book, because it really was pretty comprehensive.
Did you
that's kind of
get to see the book? Did you guys ever get the book? I don't know. I mean, not that you have to, but if you've gotten the book, then you kind of, I have just want to know when I'm speaking about it. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Suzanne.
Oh yeah, no, read the book, definitely read the book. And it was a lot of fun to, go back through the whole chronology, I guess, of the 80s. Because I think a lot of the 80s were defined by either films or music. And, that's part of one of the reasons why I got into this whole, be an 80s podcaster, writer, etc. So I'm kind of wondering, then just the 80s movies were kind of like a genre in themselves. They created, without even really realizing it, kind of created this genre that reflected a certain milieu, I guess. And you had a lot to do with that. And was wondering what you would say is what made them so special, even though now, of course, the movies become dated, etc.
Right.
They still are appealing to people and resonating with people. And, anytime I see them, everybody says, I want to go back.
Yeah, I'm really glad you actually brought that up, because the 80s are even different than, say, the 90s, right? And the 80s was, first of all, I think what makes them really special, they were very character-based. Yes, it was a time of teen movies with real teens doing them and teen stories as the lead, right? So when people were growing up and watching those films, a young person would watch it and go, wait, I'm her or I'm him. And that happened to me. And sometimes I think that they would, you'd watch a movie and then you kind of think, how am I? Maybe I'm going to act that way, or maybe I'm going to be that kind of person. It kind of very much, I think, perhaps role modeled certain personalities and characters. And I guess maybe films did that before, right? In the 1950s, or 60s, people go, oh, I'm kind of we always kind of look at these films and as you grow up, but because it was so teen centric, it hit at a time when people are developing, and it hits the emotional time, the hormone time. So when you watch a movie like that, and Gary walks away crying in that Last American Virgin, it hits deep. And I've had, people come to me and fans and say, that movie changed my life. That movie made me think twice. That movie, that happened to me. And there's still that particular movie, Last American Virgin, they're really moved by. And now when people watch it, also young people are moved by it. I do think that when you have stories that are character-based, that are emotion-based, you're going to be able to relate. And they were so real. I mean, even though the 80s has a lot of, it's very, very decorative and it's really cool looking and it's got the bright colors. It's not a downer, except for Last American Virgin. But aside from that. But it is, I've had opinions on it. By the way, Last American Virgin, people, that's my second book. So this one is called The Excellent Curls of the Last American French Exchange Babe of the 80s Curls. So this book is about Last American Virgin. And this book is, I'm going to say more adult, but it is definitely, because the subject matter of that film was, but it is such cool information about this. And the reason why I wrote this book, literally every 4 years, I wound up creating a book. 4 years later, because that book came out, because I wasn't finished. I thought I wrote everything in my first book. I'm like, I am done. That's it. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I have this whole other story that I totally did not bring up. So that is why I created that book. And all my books that come out are about just the moment, I just suddenly go, oh, wow, I forgot about that. Or, oh, I think this would be really interesting. So, but I wanted the books to make people, I wanted them to make people go back in time and then remember what that feels like, bring back memories. And perhaps the book that I wrote triggers people to go, oh, wait, I remember that show, or I remember that the thing and let's watch it. Now, when you're talking about how it makes you feel and why we go back to it today, feel good movies. 80s had a lot of feel good movies. And I don't know how that went down in the 90s. I know that the 90s became much more real. And sometimes reality is not as upbeat. I don't know. It depends. I that's a very broad statement, but I know that the 80s were definitely a time where it was upbeat, but it was real in a way that everybody can relate to relationships. Everyone can relate to how they feel about their parents or how they feel about somebody they like or they have a crush on, or then friendships, what that means. And that doesn't grow old ever. So I think that's why those movies stand out, but they generally, except for Last American Virgin, have a positive ending. Cut to Better Off Dead, right?
Yeah.
So okay, is that kind of
Oh, sure, that works.
good?
I have to say, it must be really, it's really kind of astounding how, like, you talked about the curls in your hair, and the 80s were pretty much about hair when it came to, especially when it came
oh my
to
gosh,
girls.
well, yeah.
And I think without even getting enough credit for it, you were kind of like the Rachel Green of the 80s, where that those long curls and that, fluffy hair really became what every girl in high school wanted to do with their hair. And
which I have been hiding
for
years. I mean, literally. Well, it's so funny too, because like now my hair, I'll tell you, I'm going to give you guys the inside scoop of my hair. So basically, for years I had straightened it, 10 years literally of hiding it, complete accident that I let it go curly and got this movie. And then all the agents, managers, casting people, leave your hair curly, leave it. It was the right timing. You can't, anybody who's ever successful, it's not just what they did, it's the timing of when it hits. And there are people, I always say, if you're an actor, you say, okay, like sometimes you'll go for an audition, you'll be like, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I get it? What was I missing? But it really has to do with the world and where the world's at and what the world needs. So you could be a very talented actor, but the world's not ready for you right now. The world is opening up to somebody else, but your time will come. You just have to hang in there and truly be yourself, but don't have expectations about what people seeing your talent or being there. That's not what your job is. Your job is to just keep working, moving forward, keep creating, and then people will, when the timing is right, believe me, they'll remember you, and with the curls, so basically, because I am 62. I have to say, sorry about that, people, but I am getting older. Yeah, I guess I could be a grandmother. I'm not yet, but whatever. I'm in that zone. Yes, I grew up with you as you grew up. I grew up as well. And what happened was my hair is gray, and I thought, oh, if I go from dark to gray, it's going to really shock people. So I thought maybe I'll go a little lighter and then it won't be such a shock. But regardless, I wanted my hair to grow long, which is fun. And so occasionally, like, I'll be straightened a little bit, depends. But I have to tell you, this year I have a bunch of things coming up, some conventions, and I will be darkening it because I feel from fans, like, I don't want them to come back and go, ugh, she's a blonde. Like, I can't relate to that anymore. We all go to that's my dark haired girl. And so I am really dark haired, but there's a lot of gray. So I'm going to go dark, and then, forgive me as I get older in my 70s. I think I'll hold off until 70s for gray, but at some point, I don't know, maybe I won't, maybe I'll just stay.
I had dark brown hair 2 days ago, so don't.
There you go. It's,
same kind of thing. Like, I'm getting something lighter now.
Yeah, let's try. Let's play. I thought it might be interesting also at a certain point, if I do go gray, to go like Susie Putterman with like purple and blue, and so I might go that way. So yeah, There you go.
Oh, yeah, Del, you go something.
Hey, yeah, Diane, we're about a year into this podcast, and you are the first author that has come on. So we're about 13 books in, so you have the distinction of being the first author.
Oh
So
my
thank you
gosh,
for that.
thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I so appreciate that. You guys should do it. I mean, oh, you should contact Curtis Armstrong.
Oh,
Yes. He
okay.
has a book.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Put
I've
in a good
already
word
got you
for
on the
us.
list, right?
Yeah, put in a good word for us.
Yes, I
Yeah.
Yeah,
will.
yeah. And not only that, but I think we're about 13 books in, and yours is the first book that I actually finished and finished early of all the others. So
Thank you.
yes,
See,
yes.
that says something. That means it's like interesting. Like it's just not, it's not. And also, my book is like a lot of times people they write and look, being an actor or a dancer or a musician or even and a writer is very hard. It's a freelance life. Any freelance job in our generation, in the Gen X generation, was I'm not going to say it was not impossible, but it wasn't something people said they wanted to be an actor, but most people didn't take that direction because of fear of not having any money or being told, that's a pipe dream or that's silly, that's ridiculous, right? So you really had to have the right mental thinking and the right need to do it. Then there were people who did it who became actors because they could not do anything else. You often forget, like some people, no, they cannot do anything else. All they can do is be an artist. It's just who they are. So saying that, I want to point out that this book is uplifting because it says, yes, you can do it. And yes, there will be hard times, but there are hard times in any life, right? And then if you go and do something else in your life, some people always, oh, why didn't I do what my dream was? Or they wait for retirement to do their dream and then they don't have the energy, okay? Or they don't have the money, right? So, there's no right and wrong way of having your life. You write your own script. I just know that I am a person who from the beginning of my life wanted to be an actor. I loved dancing and singing and acting. I loved all that so much. And I wasn't afraid to get criticism from it. I mean, I cried many times wanting to get parts and didn't get them and frustrated and mad. But, don't we all in life at some point from something? And it was more important for me to go, okay, I'm going to keep moving forward and going after what I want with the chance that maybe something would go, as opposed to just not even trying. So I feel like this book is very different than a lot of times for a lot of people because in the past, certainly, sometimes you hear a lot of really sad stories. And I started young, but I wasn't like on a TV show. And I think that was probably a good thing because if you're in a show and you're on every day and all the time, there's in a way, a false sense of security, and then you have to rebuild it. It's a whole other problem. My problem was just keep auditioning. Oh, you didn't get that. Oh, you didn't get that. Okay, keep getting. Oh, this one you got to call back for. Wait, you got a screen test. Oh no, it's not going to work out. So it's like, you have to be not only resilient, stubborn. I'm very stubborn.
Yeah, I loved the fact that you said that you were the girl who went and did auditions for things that nobody else would do. You just did everything. I just love, we've read a lot of these memoirs, and the ones that I love the best are people who really are so devoted that they're just driven to do this, and they had no qualms
qualms
about it.
Yeah. Not about ego. It's not about now. There's another thing too. There's some people in the entertainment business when I was growing up too. Their families had a lot of money. I did not. Okay, and my parents did not want me. They had jobs. My dad worked. My mom did not. but I did not have to bring in money for my parents. I brought in money that paid for my college, right? So it was, everything was, and I wanted to go to college. My parents didn't care. I was like, I want an American experience. My parents were German and Austrian immigrants. So I was like, I want to go to college. I want to see what that American life is like. Isn't that interesting? Like I was first generation, and that was my thought. It wasn't about becoming famous. It was about, I want the experiences. In fact, being famous is almost, was at the time in the 80s, something you did not want, because if you became famous, you were either typecast or you, you wanted to stay under the radar so you could get more jobs. So it was a whole different head. Whereas today, everything's like, oh yeah, become internet famous, have everybody know you, get all these followers. Totally different way of working, right? Different head. But I appreciate you saying that, because yeah, I thought everybody who was an actor went through what I went through when I was a kid. I thought, well, everyone's done commercials and they've done voiceover, they've done modeling. Robert De Niro's probably done this. It's like, no, I'm so naive. Like, I mean, I didn't realize at the time, there's so many different ways to fall into to being on something, getting in a show or doing that. And good luck to them. Like, that's awesome. Like, you're getting in with with a director from, from NYU Film School and, playing a part and owning it and becoming that person's, expression of their film work, so cool. But I will say, from the way I did it in my life, I got to have a lot of variety in my career as far as roles, and that is what I love. Like I was the girlfriend, but I played so many different types of girls. Summer girl, I played like an evil girl. Like it was so much fun. So much fun. It still is.
Yeah, you laid some incredible groundwork, because of voice acting, dance, and commercials and everything. So I think you kind of laid that groundwork. So that I think that helped a lot. And yeah, I'm sure Della's also happy that this is one of the few, other than Ralph Macchio, where there was no drug use.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
That's true.
Thank you for leading a clean life.
Seriously.
Yeah, good for you.
No, seriously, like, okay, so funny. When I was growing up, or like because I started so young, and I knew that this was my only chance. And I was, and maybe it started from modeling, because modeling, like, in a certain way, you have to take care of yourself. Although I wasn't that model who doesn't eat, it was a child model. So as I got older, it was like, I think that it was like, no, of course you don't treat your body like crap, or you don't, risk breaking your leg somewhere, or you don't get like a dark tan, because that is not what gets you work. So but the one thing I did is I didn't go to all those Hollywood parties. Mm-hmm. And I think that if I had, I probably would have made connections. But you know what? I wasn't mature enough to do that. I mean, I really wasn't. I think if your parent is in the entertainment business and you go to those parties, you have that weight of like, hey, don't mess with me. But if I had gone to those Hollywood parties, I think I would have been messed with, because, I'm the new girl. What's she about? So yeah, I didn't go to. That's why I think I was pretty unscathed. Hollywood parties. That's a whole other thing, right? Not to say that it's what's funny is, since then, now as an adult, I have become friends with a lot of actresses who are of my genre, like, Jill Schulin, Suzanne Snyder, Jennifer Tilly. We work together. Barbara Crampton. So many actresses that are that worked at the same time, and we get together now. And now I'm getting my kind of, I don't say partying, but like I get to socialize and meet other people, which is really fun. Like, it's just been really gratifying and very cool to get their perspectives now. And you know, we've all done our work. We're all established. So that's what excites me. It's like, wow, like, you know, everyone's done their job, and now we can look at each other. Unlike before, maybe when we were younger, more competitive. Now it's more like, oh, I love your work. I love Kimmy Robinson and Kimmy in like Twin Peaks, even, you know, or gosh, or Britannia Alda. She's just, you know, we're still friends, and seeing her and wow, I saw Deer Hunter. Tell me, right? You know, give me the inside scoop. So it's very cool.
That's a nice club.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's great. And it's the only people who are in it are actors of like 50 and up, you know, because we had the same experience growing up, you know, and saw the same people audition for the same things. There's an actress, Claudia Wells. Love her.
Oh, yeah.
She, you know, Back to the Future. Claudia and I went for this movie for TV, and I got it. And it was, we went for a TV pilot, and we went for the same part, and I got it. But then there's other times where, like, you know, you go for the show. I think maybe she went for something and she got it. And it's like everyone sort of takes turns, and every director shows their taste and their creative expression to the actors that they hire. So like, I always say, like, to Heather Langenkamp, she's an expression of the director's vision. And she could have done anything. She could have done comedy, drama. She's a great actress, but she became an iconic horror actress because he saw his vision in her. So that as an actor, you don't have any choice on that, except today with the internet. Now we have a whole different story. Now you can create and you can show people, if you're an actor, your voice and how you want to be portrayed. If you want to be a dramatic actor, do dramatic scenes, create your own channel, write your own material, get people around you to help. This is the new world. And we didn't see it coming, but my daughter was always doing comedy. And when it came up, I said, you need to write your own stuff. People have to see your work and your imagination. So when we were growing up, all the roles I did not write. But today, it's very common that the lead actor writes the material. So things have changed drastically. And people who view this have no idea. You know what I mean? Like the new generation doesn't see content for what went behind it the way it was back then. It's just different.
Hey, Diane, I love that in the book that you talked about all your accomplishments, but also some of the things that didn't work out that most people would have been discouraged by, very discouraged by, and maybe would not have continued on. And I can even see it in how you're talking, your enthusiasm, your excitement, your positive outlook of everything. Where does that come from for you?
Wow, thank you for that question. And by the way, I just want to bring up a point in that story that you're talking about. That was a situation with an actress named Elizabeth Berridge, and we did a part together on a soap opera once where we worked together. And then later on, there was a part in a movie that I got that she didn't. And then there was this movie that you were talking about later that she got and I didn't. So at the time, I didn't see it. But later on, when I looked back at my work, I went, oh my gosh, Elizabeth and I have always been kind of next to each other. And we're totally different personalities, totally different energy. And that's why I was always very confused, because I was like, we're so different. Why are we always competing? But we were both petite brunettes, you know, and I think people perhaps saw that. And what made us different was what made the project different. So like, that's why one project worked and maybe another one didn't. But anyway, I would love to talk with her. I would love to I was like I'd like to get together with all these actresses that, you know, I had, you know, worked with in the past. Anyway, energy wise, well, okay, where did it come from? So when I was 15, I had a job, my first extra job. And I think maybe my only extra job was in Endless Love with Brooke Shields. And Brooke was a big influence. I did modeling with her back when I was like 10 years old. Oh, the old days when I was 10 and we were around the same height. I think maybe I was taller at 10 years old. But anyway, we're back in there 11. And she's such a sweet woman now, but was such a sweet girl back then. And I remember I was an extra, but we had worked together before. So when I had met her, when I came to set, she remembered me, and that blew me away. That made me so happy. And I saw her on set with the director, Franco Zeffirelli. I'll never forget it. She was like in a scene in front of a fireplace. She looked stunning. And he was so gentle with her, and she was listening so intently. And I don't even remember how old she was. She was very young, but I really respected her for her. She was not pretentious. She was very genuine, and she wasn't nervous. She was very calm. And I just really, it hit me. And she was so nice to me. She let me take a picture together. And so interesting because her eyebrows are what got me work, as well as a lot of other actresses, Lori Loughlin, Elizabeth Shue, Catherine Mary Stewart. Like, we all had these dark eyebrows, and that gave us the edge or the opportunity. Remember I told you, like, your time will come. That was the opportunity. Everyone was looking, all casting directors were looking for a Brooke Shields look. So, but that experience really stuck with me when I was 15. And in answer to your question, coming back, I said to myself, all right, well, I guess I don't need to be an actress anymore because she's done it all. To me, I just wanted to be a nice person in the entertainment business. And she is. She's beautiful, and she's lovely to watch. She's engaging on film. And I thought, you know, I don't need to do it anymore. And I went home, and I really thought that was the moment where when you're talking about my energy, I was like, okay, well, I guess I don't need to do this anymore because it's been done. And I really was grappling with that. Like, what am I going to do? I wanted to be like I wanted to do biochemistry research, and I thought I'd find a cure for cancer. And there was like a whole, you know, like when you're young, you're like, what do I want to be? Your life is so valuable. It is so valuable when you're a teenager. And for anybody who doesn't think so, oh my gosh, you have the whole world open to you. No matter what you've been through, you are valuable. You're important. And what you decide you want to do is important. And the decisions you make are important. It's important. So anyway, I realized that the next morning I woke up and I was like, you know, I thought, okay, I'm done. We're not doing this anymore. I'm not going to be an actress. And I didn't feel happy. I felt sad. And so that moment, I was like, oh, wow, I have no life energy. That's not right. You check in with yourself. And I was like, even at that age, I knew it doesn't matter if there's somebody who did it. There can be another person who can do this. It's worth it. There can be two nice people in the entertainment business. You know, at the times you're hearing, oh, this person's horrible and this person's not nice. But I just was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And oh, that was great. And after that, that's when I really brought my positive energy and my outlook. And I really never looked back. I was, again, yes, there were jobs. I was on the floor crying or in bed crying or so sad or so disappointed. But I never thought of giving up, ever. Isn't that weird? Never. I was always like, no, I want to keep, of course, I'm going to take this opportunity and build on it. But I will say that I stopped acting when I had my kids. Like, that's when I decided, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to I wasn't even a break. I thought I was done. I thought, I guess I'm not going to act anymore. I'm moving on. I got married and I was having my kids. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll be an artist, and I paint, and I did that. And like I worked in an animation studio, and I produced, and I just did a lot of other things in the meantime, until my daughter was 10 years old, and she started making movies. Actually, she started much younger. What am I thinking? 4 years old. 4 years
Wow.
old. 5 years. And whatever. That's a whole other book. That's a whole other story. But yeah, no, I never thought that I'd be sitting here again. I never thought anyone would. People think like, oh, get over it. People remember you. But it's not a given, you know? And so many huge actors are shocked that people don't remember them. Why should they? If they're not contemporary, if they're not putting out, you're a memory unless you find purpose and give it back. So by the way, I teach acting to kids, well, TK to TK to 8th, and I teach thousands of kids a week. But I also teach like privates for older kids and college kids who want to go to college, and adults. But it's the next generation. So, and they don't know who I am. A lot of them don't. Some do, but most of them don't. And I'm like, oh, no, it's your turn now. It's your time to make it full circle. Because that's the true ability to have to pass it on. That's fine. That's what I think.
I think when I'm having
sorry, go ahead.
sorry, I was going to say if I'm having a bad week or feeling discouraged, I'm going to go back and watch this part of the podcast.
Yay!
So, yes.
I can tell you, if you're talking about being optimistic, this is such an important piece of information. You have the right to feel bad when you feel bad, but that doesn't tell your story in the future. And as soon as you get it out, you move forward. And I always say, are you going towards the cliff or away from the cliff? And it doesn't matter how fast. It just matters the direction. So you figure out your direction. That's all that matters. And I highly recommend stay connected to what makes you happy on your own that doesn't involve other people, meaning maybe write a song, maybe write a book, maybe write a poem. Creation is very satisfying. And it doesn't matter if anybody sees it. You know, who are you to say? Somebody might find it years from now and decide that they want to make a movie by it. You don't know. But it would not happen unless you create. So I think that's another part we forget. Sometimes people think that other people should bring them happiness when you bring yourself happiness. And that's why I can be happy. I mean, because I'm genuinely one of those people that goes, like, life is crazy. It's crazy, you know, and fires here and like all this stuff going around. But yeah, create and exercise. You can take a walk, move your body, because when you move your body, everything gets your head. I don't mean like exercise that's boring and mundane. You could be dancing. Put on music and dance in the kitchen. Clean to music and dance around, or give yourself a time limit. I'm going to clean this house in a half hour, and I'm going to dance around, and I'm going to clean it, and it's going to be done. Because it's a game. Make it a game.
Yeah.
You know, stop with this. You choose the script you write in your life. Okay? Is it going to be a comedy? Is it going to be a drama? Is it going to be horror? You choose, right? Okay? Remember that. And guess what? You can write another script. If you've been writing horror all your life, well, let's put that one down. Let's put it down. Okay? Okay, there you go. I have
That's
to say
awesome.
sometimes, but yeah, I'm really good at getting the center of how we feel. Like right now, it's a very strange time in the world for me, because I'm a very upbeat person, but I know that upbeat Pollyanna things aren't flying right now. It's not, you know, but yet at the same time, a distraction can lift you up. Like you watch Better Off Dead, and suddenly you're like, I can breathe again. Like, wow, there's hope, right? So I'm even my social media, interesting because I'm going, yeah, there are things that are happening that are very hard for people right now. But when people come to me, they're not looking for me to repeat what's going on in sadness. They're looking for a lightness, a positive energy, something to give us hope, but not be flippant about what's happening. So, and go into our fear. We got to be brave. That's the other thing.
Good for you.
Got to be brave right now.
Yeah.
And watch and listen and observe and think and be brave and don't do anything impulsive. Be more thoughtful. And this generation too needs to be a little more thoughtful. And those of us Gen Xers know we do that. We think.
Mhm.
Am I wrong? I feel like we think.
Yeah.
Maybe overthink.
Yeah, like you say, respond instead of react. That's what you should do. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
And only you can control how you feel. You can't let external forces, control you. Either way, good
No.
or bad, you have the power within yourself to, make a good thing happen.
Yeah, I know, like, even if you watch the news too much, it can get you very overwhelmed. You have to be careful with what, again, when we were growing up, the news was like, we had 13 channels. We were told what to feel. It was like, and there was a certain part of society that was like, everything's going to be okay. Yes, this is happening, but we're going to be okay. Now there's so much media and everything, and we are in charge of what we will see and what we won't see. The key, I think, is you have to know yourself. At any age, you need to know yourself. And it's like teenagers are figuring it out. Who am I? What am I? What do I think? And they might jump on the bandwagon of like, that's not right. And this is great. And this is right. And it's like, you have to know you. Once you know you and how you react and what works for you, then you can, then you can be more stable because you're understanding how things affect you. And you won't let people push you around.
Mm-hmm.
Because oh, that's too much. I'm going to stop there.
I think you just wrote the fourth book. I think that.
Well, thank you for many because I'm going to bring the third book.
Yeah.
This is the upbeat book. This is the book
one
that will make everybody smile. This is the third book. Excellent comedy of the last American French exchange babe of the 80s. Better Off Dead tribute book because I love this film so much. And again, you talked about the energy that the material brings. That's why I wrote this book. And again, every 4 years, I seem to come out with a book. And this book, again, had no idea I was going to write it. But I went to conventions and I would always bring my Better Off Dead coat, this coat. I still have the coat.
Oh, wow.
Which people, like, this is a big deal. Like, this coat is so famous now. Like, it's been on so many things. But I used to let my people at conventions wear it in photos. And somebody said to me, "What? It would be so cool to have a book with all the people who wore the coat." And I thought, great idea. But I'm like, how am I going to find all these people? Well, I did. I wrote, like, I went to the conventions and then I looked up people who wore the coat and there were like, I saw people, I put the word out. I said, people who were following me, I said, if you have a coat, if you took a picture with me wearing the coat, send it to me. And so then I thought, well, if I'm going to write a book about Better Off Dead, it has to be the ultimate book. So I researched it and I interviewed cast members and I have like actual interviews and I transcribed them and I did the quotes. I made this the ultimate. If you love the film, this book, there's so many things you would never know. And when I told Savage Steve Holland I wanted to write it, I said, "Is that okay? Because it's his film, And he said, "Oh, I would love it." I said, "Well, do you want to write like something for it?" And he sent me like 20, 30 pages. There were things I didn't even know about the film. So in the process of doing this, I learned so much about the making of the movie, the behind the scenes, and there's still stuff. But here, I want to show you this kind of funny. Where is this? Yeah, like all the different conventions.
Oh, okay.
People. It's so fascinating. How many people love the film? It's so beloved.
Yeah.
So it makes me very happy because I love the part I played, and I still hang out with the actors.
That's
And
Wow.
fun thing to tell you, it's the 40th anniversary of Better Off Dead this year.
Yeah.
And the one thing I do know, there's a couple of events going on, but the one thing I do know, and by the way, I wore my Better Off Dead. You can do it. This my shirt. You can do it. It's no sweat.
Yes.
Monique lives.
Can you do the rest of the podcast in that voice? Is that possible? Or
as Monique, I would tell you this very important information. Right now, you really know I am, right? It's like before. Oh, the curls. Where's the curls? Where's the dark hair? This is really cool. There's an event called The Sands, and you go to like the sands.rocks. And this is a place very nice. We are having a Better Off Dead 40th anniversary celebration. And they're going to try to get several actors from the film over there. Fantastic. And it's a week-long 80s experience. I have been doing it for years because it is so great. And they have real 80s bands. And, so there's like the celebrity thing where people are signing autographs. And it's in Cancun in November, first week of November. But it is so worth it. I mean, it will be, if you love the 80s, I promise you, it is the best thing you'll ever do in your life. It is phenomenal.
I've been wanting to go for years now.
I'm just telling you, it is so worth it. Like people go and then they come back. Like it's so crazy. They have it was like Billy Idol was performing and you're like very in a small, like, I would say the room is as big as it's at Planet Hollywood, by the way. That's where it is. Planet Hollywood in Cancun. And it's in a room that's probably big as like a place you'd have a wedding, like a dining hall or something, right?
Hall,
and they have, gosh, I mean, the motels in Berlin and Sebastian Bach and Tetronic and I think this year's Men Without Hats and the Tubes and they had somebody from from Salt and Pepper, someone from Salt and Pepper and what's it? I'm trying to think. Oh my goodness, my brain is tiny. Hold on. I'm gonna find out now. Let me see. It's just what a great event. I'm not like, it's not even my job to say it's great. That's why I have to tell you, it is. I have gone back probably 7 years, and I just got lucky by doing it. But what is it? Oh, Howard Jones is there, who wrote, like To Get to Know You Well, and so I'm going to bring my coat and my hat, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people dressing up in costumes, and it's fabulous. So anyway, I bring that to you as well as something that you should pass on word of mouth. If you know anyone who loves the 80s, it is well worth the experience. And I will be, of course, French. So that I will talk to you in French. All right, you will meet Monique. We will have a very strong handshake.
Excellent.
Well, if you wore the Dodgers hat and had some grease on your face, I'd be done. So.
I'll have to think about my little Dodger hat. I'll bring that too.
I guess we should wrap things up because I want to respect your time and
I'm fast.
It's too fast. We could go on for hours.
I so appreciate this. My fans are the best. They're so loyal. They're so cool. Sometimes people will say, like the internet's scary, but I'm telling you, I have great fans. Probably it's because it's Gen X. We know how to behave. We have good manners.
Yeah.
And if and if somebody's not nice, they say it and they go, leave. Just don't bother us.
Right.
We're having a good time. So it is very interesting. I so love this generation, and I'm so happy that I can bring happiness to people and that they can, go back in time. And I hope they get the books because they are worth it. I mean, you could tell them, but they're special. They're not prefab you're never going to see anything like it. So.
Yeah, the incredible. Yeah. I love the format, well written, and it's amazing and very uplifting, like you said.
Yeah, I love that you've taken control of the whole publishing process and narrative and such.
Yeah,
and ran with that and finding success with it. It's terrific.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that, again, controlling it, like some people are very timid. If you want to write books and you're doing it, no one is going to care or know what you want to write more than you. No one's going to have that vision of what you want it to look like or what to see it. It's allowing yourself that. I remember what happened with my first book. With that book, is the company that I used they were like, oh, we'll do the layout. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll pay for the layout for them. And they did a terrible job. I was like, oh my God, they don't do it anymore. I think they don't even offer that anymore. But now it's like, you have to come with the whole thing. But I was like, oh, my next book. No, I'm doing the layout for the next one. So you gotta, what does they say? Something in invention of necessity. Invention.
It's just the mother of necessity.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Necessity is the mother of invention. Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember that. Monique says this. Necessity is the mother of invention. All right? Remember this. Don't forget. You can do it.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey, did you want to tell people where they can find the books?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So you can get the books on Amazon. And look up Diane Franklin books, and the Better Off Dead one is there, but sometimes when you look it up, you might have to put in a couple of different words, Diane Franklin Better Off Dead book, or you'll have to find it. So it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes & Noble online. But if you want it signed by moi, and then you can also get any, what do you call it? You can get a quote. Like if you want me to write something special, go to dianefranklin.com and then go to where it says photos, or no, books. Go to books. You can get photos there too. And if you go to the books and you order it, then at the end of the web page, there's like, if you have any questions or send me a letter or note or something, send me an email, write to me and say, I just bought your book. And I would like it to be to whoever, and then I would like this quote. Okay, so you order the book. It won't say it at the book to sign it, but I will personalize it if you go to the last page of the website. All right, so you could even get it, but I only do domestic. I don't do international because international is so expensive. It's like so ridiculously expensive. So unfortunately, I don't do that unless you really want to pay a lot of money. And then just let me know. But I think it's prohibitive. So anyway, you have to wait for me to come to England or do a signing. Oh, wait, can I tell you? Wait, when is this coming out? Yes. Or is it out?
Well, we're live on YouTube right now, so.
Right, no editing. So, okay, so here's the thing. I want to share some information, though this hasn't been out yet, but I do want to share it. I will be at a convention on February, I think, Saturday, the 14th. Don't quote me, but it will be that weekend. I will be at Galfrey 1. It's like a Doctor Who convention, and I will be there with my books, and I will be there for signing. So I just want to let you know ahead of time that should be happening, but I haven't been able to put it up because they need to announce it. But now at least some people know I should be there. All right. So if you want me to sign it, I will sign it with a French dialect or an English dialect if you want Bill and Ted's. And chair, Princess Elizabeth. So
there you go.
That sounds. Where is that? What is it in California?
Yes, it's going to be by LAX I think at LAX Marriott, and the
Mhm.
event is called Gallifrey.
Gallifrey.
Gallifrey. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gallifrey 1.
Yeah, I'm a
So
Doctor
look
Who
up
nerd.
Gallifrey
Yeah.
1. Thank you. This is fantastic.
All right, and then we usually start. We give Del and Suzanne a chance to plug their show. So, Del, are you back up yet with your radio
Yep,
show?
radio
Del's
show.
a DJ. He has a 80s radio show. That's awesome, Diane. So, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll be talking about this next weekend. So
Yay!
yeah, so, yeah, it's the 80s at 8 on WEDM. You can download the app 8 a.m., 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday and Sunday.
Yay! I love that.
And then Suzanne's an author herself. So,
Yay.
yeah.
Yeah, you can find me at SuzanneMataboni.com or onceinaLifetimeNovel.com. This is kind of similarly, there we go. Well, there. Similar, set in the 1980s, kind of to capture that moment, like you were saying, and bottle that and let people be able to experience it.
Wow.
OnceinaLifetimeNovel.com. And I'm out there on social media, having fun when I can, and Twitter and Facebook. Well, X and Facebook, let's say.
Right.
Instagram here and there.
Excellent.
Maybe I'll
Party
send you
on!
a free copy.
Put on, Suzanne. Party on, dude.
Oh yeah.
Babe. Sorry.
Yeah.
Paul, can we get Diane back every time we do this podcast? Is that possible?
Yeah, if she would like to, yeah,
This is
definitely.
great.
Yeah, you have an open invitation.
It's been awesome.
And I also have another podcast called Inspiring Journeys. And I would love for you to come on that too, Diane. But I don't want to put you on the spot now. Something to think about. But I feel like the last part of the podcast was like in that vein of Inspiring Journeys. So I love that. So that's inspiringjourneys.net, and the podcast is on Inspiring Journeys. And of course, I'm on GenX Journeys on Instagram, where I've been posting movies and albums that were released. Right now, I'm on 1980, and then we'll be going to 1985 after this, which will include Better Off Dead. So, yeah.
Merci buckets.
Mercy buckets. Thank you so much, Diane. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy that you agreed to do this. It's amazing. I kind of was a shoot you shot, and you replied like right away. So I was so happy and honored that you do that. Yeah.
Well, it's a great idea, and I hope it brings a lot of happiness to people. I really do. I hope this is a great idea for a show, and that's why I did it, because it's a great idea. So, you guys party on, seriously, okay? You really did. Great idea. Most excellent idea.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? On all my podcasts, I had Return of the 80s podcast that I started in 2017. And right from the beginning, I always closed out with the Abraham Lincoln, be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. Yeah. I closed out with that sound clip on every episode since I started. So yeah. So this is perfect.
We did that on Bonsai Retro Club too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other. Be most triumphant and excellent to each other. All right? Princess Elizabeth says so. All right? Listen to these guys. They know what they're talking about. We really need that right now, right? Be excellent to each other.
Exactly.
Everybody. All right?
Yep. Yeah, and you're part of the band that will save the universe. So thank you for that.
Right. See? I mean, come on, people, right? You have troubles, you come to me. I'll save the universe, all right? With, of course, Bill and Ted. Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching and listening. If you're listening to this afterwards, so thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and let us know, and definitely check out Diane's books. You're going to love them. So thank you so much, everybody.